We are going to start from where we started last night, not because of a review, but because you have to start there in order to go further. One thing that I have to say as an introduction to this unit, every word counts. Every word has a meaning. When we say Elokus, it has a very profound meaning. And unless we relate to what that word means, there will be no significance to what follows. In principle, what we're learning now, we already discussed at many different levels. One level, when we pointed out, a Rav and a Talmid. The Talmid is not in proximity to the Rav, and yet he absorbs what the Rav gives him. And the whole phenomenon of Rav and Talmid is that the Talmid should absorb that the Rav gives him, not that he digests it and he takes it with his paw, so to speak, and that becomes his level of understanding. Then he doesn't get anything out of it. He takes what the Rav gives him, and that way he thinks at the level of the Rav. He's not capable of that, of doing that, but he thinks as a recipient at the level of the Rav. And this is what raises him. This is what opens up his koiches. In other words, at that moment, he is like the Rav, but not like the Rav. He has the ha'ora, he has the teaching of the Rav, that which is pertinent for his, that he is able to be transmitted. That which the Rav thinks for himself cannot be transmitted. But that which can be transmitted, this is what he receives. And that is also Seichel HaRav. Okay, so now let's go inside here. We are on page Yudalet. Are you ready? Yeah. We are again, basically where we learned last night. In the paragraph that is marked off as Ayin, and we are going to be starting at 6 lines from the end of that paragraph. Mah-she-ein-ken Atzilus. Atzilus is different. Atzilus is not a creation. We discussed yesterday the principle of creation. Creation means something that is created, like you make a table, and the table stands on its own. Even though the human being made it, but now it stands independently. It does represent the human ingenuity and the human seichel and the human capability and the skill and all that. But all that is now detached and becomes an entity unto itself. This means bria. That phenomenon, that something came from the human mind, has now materialized to the point where it exists independently of the human mind. That is called bria. It still maintains, it still is connected, it still represents that spirit, but it represents that spirit as a standalone entity. Atzilus is not that way. And this is what we call them. Mah-she-ein-ken Atzilus. Before that we say Bria is his chachus, yesh miyayin. Atzilus is not so. V'zehu, and thus this is the meaning what we say, Atzilus hu Elokus mamash. Elokus mamash, it is literally Elokus. In other words, it exists because Elokus is there. Not because it came from Elokus, but it is Elokus. It is Elokus means its presence, its current presence represents the presence of Elokus, the reality of Elokus. As we're going to see, it's a subset of that. But still, there is the element of Elokus. Which means it's not a created entity. It is true, and it stands because there's Elokus. This principle, okay, we'll come back now. The Inyan Ha'Elokus, the Eires Atzilus, who the Elokus element of the Eires of Atzilus is who bechinas his pastus me'etzem Elokus. This is why it's called Elokus Mamash, because this is the bechina, this is the aspect of his pastus me'etzem Elokus. It is that which emanates and spreads forth. It is not the etzem Elokus, but it spreads forth. It is the expression of etzem Elokus, which we discussed here last night. In other words, it means that it is not the etzem of the matzil mamos. Means that this is not the very essence of matzil, but it's nevertheless representative of kiim only. Rather, ha'ora ha'mishpashetis miyana. It is a ha'ora that spreads forth from it. This ha'ora is, as we said many times, a subset. It is a ha'ora that mispashet from him. That quality of a ha'ora can only be because it's mispashet from Atzem Elokus. The quality of it. But nonetheless, its presence is on a different level. Its presence is on the level of ha'ora. And last night we took this to some concrete degree, and I hope you understood. And I want to review just quickly. I'm sure you understood this last night. The difference between day and light. Functionally, from our perspective, there is no difference. Because light makes you able to see the object in perfect clarity, leaving no doubt as to the reality of the object. Yet, it's a different quality, different level of reality, of light, day and light. Although the effect of it is similar, yet it is a different kind of a statement. The whole phenomenon, please understand, the whole phenomenon of us being able to see object and relate to that reality of sight. And I'll explain what I mean by relate to that reality of sight. The animal also sees the object. He does not see the object as an object. He sees the object as an obstacle, as something in his way. It blocks my way. It also sees the object, but it's not relating to the object per se. The animal does not have seichel. It does not have the concept of reality. When he hit it on the head, he knows he got hit. So he knows that the stick is a dangerous stick. But what a stick is, has no idea. The human being, because of his seichel, goes a step much deeper, much further. But he says, it's not merely that I see it, but I see the reality of it. Which means I see it from the perspective that the object sees itself. Not because it affects me, because I see the reality. let us take this in a different arena. Maybe this will hit us clearly. You look at the other human being. It's possible to look at another human being from the perspective, what does it mean to me? What do I need him for? What will happen if I touch him? How is he going to react? How am I going to react? In other words, you're relating to the human being also like a stick. But the real quality of the human being is that you look at another person, your intelligence tells you that this is a real person. Not only based on his ability to hit you or to do something. You have a completely different respect, real respect for the human being, because he is for real. He represents a reality, a godlike reality, an infinite reality. And this you get by sight. In other words, with sight, you relate, you recognize not what you see behitzonius, but where this is coming from. Sight presents you not a functional element of what you see, but the reality of it, the etzem. That's a phenomenal thing. And the reason that this occurs, please follow this, is that because this object, this person and this thing is really an etzem, is a real presence, on par with your own presence. And this is what you recognize when you see it. Not what it can do to you, but what it is unto itself, what its mission is. This is what you recognize. The reason you recognize that, and you recognize only through sight. Why through sight? Because the phenomenon that you see the object without being affected by it, you don't even have to touch it, means that you're recognizing, you're relating to it from a different level of reality. Not from its effect upon you, but from its own reality. It doesn't touch you, and yet it's real. And you respect it. So this, the respect for a human being is not, please understand, the human being is not because of what he can do. It's not because of his faculties, as we said many times. A person who has never had the last moments of his life, you stand in awe of life itself, even though he's totally incapable of doing anything. This is the principle that you're seeing, okay. This is the principle of a ha'ora of sight, of light. They relate, makes things real in itself, because they is a reality. But light is only a reflection of the quality of day. And yet this reflection is so pure that it gives you a sense of the same reality that day itself will show to you. This is what this is called a ha'ora of the etzem. Functionally, it gives you the same sense as if you would be getting from the essence itself. Okay, this is what he says over here. Hispashas miyatzem malakus, the line is hispashas miyatzem malakus, mishkosem malkimach, v'hainu, which means to say, shein zeh atzmos hamatzim mamash, this is not the etzem hamatzi. Ki only ha'ora mispashit mimenu. It's a ha'ora that mispashit from him, meaning that this ha'ora is representative. The effect of the presence of the ha'ora is the same as the effect of his own presence. So on the effect element, it's the same. But it's only ha'ora.
The effect, what is the distinction there? The effect is the same, but it's not him. What happened?
Right.
Why would the effect be the same? That would seem to be something.
The effect will be the same because, as we said, you see with your eyes. The dog sees with your eyes. Is it the same? The effect is the same because you have intelligence. You see beyond the physical effect. So this ha'ora brings to you the essence of the thing. But it is not the essence itself. It brings to you because you have intelligence to see it, to relate to it. When you have the etzem itself, then you don't have to, like it says, that the osid lovi, the animals themselves will recognize the locus. That's a completely different thing. It's not going to be through their intelligence, through their sensitivity. It's going to be, they're going to be contained within reality itself. Now this is only within capacity and reach of the human being, because a human being looks at things with his intelligence, not with his hands. Like, for example, what we say all the time, the human being does not look at the walls, he looks at the house. House is an intellectual concept.
So by means of that intelligence, he's within etzem, or
he recognizes etzem and the qualities. Yes, he's not within him.
Uh-huh.
He recognizes etzem, and that's what he relates to. House, the concept of house is a reality. It's a godly reality. It's not a physical reality. The animal can only see the physical reality.
It's a godly reality. So once the human being has that would seem to be everything. He's inside. He's not outside looking in and using his intelligence.
That's correct, but it's not everything. Because he only has it by observation. He only has it by ha'orim mispashetus. When he looks at it, he sees it.
He only has it by mispashetus, as opposed to like being fully immersed within it.
As opposed to have it, even if he doesn't look at it.
Uh-huh.
That's real.
So however great sight is, and we've been talking a lot about that, there's this element of he needs to look.
Right. That's exactly right. And this is why sight does not disrupt your physical activity of life, your worldly orientation. You say, wow, you wowed, and then you go back to your worldly orientation.
So the wow is not constant.
The wow is at the moment of our realization. We said all the time, this wow has a profound effect, like a person who is sighting, and if he lost sight, it still has the effect of the reality of sight. Somebody who's never seen is in a different category.
Is that like Korea?
What?
Is that like Bria?
Well, I don't know. This is what we're saying, Atzilus. Atzilus is a ha'ora mispashas, just as in koches ha-nefesh. We say that the koches mislabish in the evonim. Because the koches are not the etzem ha-nefesh, it's a ha'ora of the nefesh. The same meaning is in Atzilus. Atzilus is a ha'ora of atzmos ha-matzim. On the other hand, Atzilus has this quality, that the Inyan that it's a ha'ora mispashet from the Atzmus HaMatzil, it's a ha'ora that actually represents the Atzmus of the Matzil, what kind of entity it is, what kind of truth it is. Not b'bchinas ischachus dover, not like something created. Like we said, look at the table, you don't see the human being. You see something that was created by the human being, but what you're looking at is an entity unto itself. When you see the table, you actually see only the functionality. What can I do with it? You don't see the real nefesh, neshama element, the human intellect in it. You see its functionality. Really, where is it coming from? As we said last night, it is representative of the human being himself. And so, this is Atzilus.
When you see the table as it's to itself, then you come to the level of its chashus.
Yeah. But Atzilus is a order mispashut avalei b'bchinas ischachus dover, but not b'bchinas, not in the sense of being ischachus as a independent creation. And yet still. And this is where we have, this is a, so to speak, a catch. Mikomokim is just still. We didn't get to this yet yesterday. Hare Atzilus Gamkin. Yet still, Atzilus also is bibchinas Ayin Areich L'Gabei Atzmus. Atzilus is bibchinas, has the element that it is Ayin Areich L'Gabei Atzmus. It is not at all in proximity to Atzmus. Again, okay, I want to use the few minutes we had to make this point. We're going back to the moshel of light versus day. We said light is a ha'ora of day. It brings the reality to you similar to what day brings. But it's still be'in areich today. What's be'in areich? Be'in areich is, day literally says, there is no way you cannot see the subject. It's so real, there's no way you cannot see it. The whole world has been now engrossed, encompassed by light. There's no darkness. Whereas light is a focused light that brings to you the reality of the world through sight, but it's bringing it to you. There's a novel element in this. You could see that the light could be eliminated, it could be taken away, and then it will be dark again. You can readily project when will it be dark. In daytime, you can't project darkness. You can't even imagine what darkness is. This is Shalei B'Yerech. It has the same effect, but it's Shalei B'Yerech. This is the Atzilus is Shalei B'Yerech to Gabi Atzilus.
It seems to be the text to say that when you see light, you see it's like an add-on, and day it's not an add-on.
I'm sorry, no, Shlomo, I couldn't. You have to speak very clearly, huh?
Light is like an add-on. Day is not that category.
Yes, light is like an add-on. Light is battling darkness, but not battling darkness because darkness is resisting light. But darkness is not eliminated. It's there under the surface, and there's always the sense that if the light is shut off, it'll be dark again. And you have to actively produce the light. Mah-she-ein-ken, in day there is no underlying darkness. This is why the oil shenivra b'im rishon, the oil was created the first day of creation. It was an oil, not an emanating oil, an oil without a luminary. The world itself had light. It's a godly level of light. That godly level of light is completely contradictory to the world. There was no underlying darkness when this light was shining. The world cannot subsist with us. That's why it was concealed, was taken away. Looking at the faces, I think that we are getting something. And the similar Ayin is understood from mah-she-kosuv, from the fact that what the Pasuk says, "V'ha-chochma mah-she-ein-ken." It's a Pasuk actually in Eve. "Ha-chochma mah-she-ein-ken." Ha-chochma is found, comes forth mah-she-ein. Mah-she-ein means from nothingness. What does it mean? Sheha-chochma hi b'chinas yesh. Because relative to the etzim, chochma is a yesh. V'nimtzas mah-she-ein the keser, and it comes forth from the ayin of keser. Keser is really ayin. B'chinas yesh mah-she-ein k'mishkos m'nikman. Chochma has also an element of yesh mah-she-ein. And here's where we have to deal it with it very gently. It is yesh mah-she-ein. Like we always say, chochma is, in our experience, it comes like a borog hamavik, like a spark, a fleeting spark. This fleeting spark comes suddenly because it comes from Ayin. It becomes a yesh. There is no basis for it. It's just a flash of light. If it's a flash of light, why can't I grab it? It's there. No, you can't grab it. Because the whole phenomenon of this light is to tell you what the Ayin is like. It's yesh mah-she-ein. It is not to tell you the yesh, but what the Ayin is like. And this is why it's fleeting. Like we're saying here, light, what light is, we can readily understand. We know exactly how it's produced and how it works in terms of making things visible and all. We know exactly how it works. We know it so much, so well, because we can even replicate it to a physical eye, to a camera. We know exactly how it works. But the ayin, the day element that it represents, that we cannot grasp. We cannot grasp, we cannot replicate it. This is a reality. And relative to that, that's still a yesh relative to ayin. This is the principle why it's called Timotzei. Ayin Timotzei. Timotzei, the word Timotzei, there's a literal touch Timotzei, found. You walk and you find something unexpectedly. I mean, see, Timotzei thus also has the meaning of coming forth. Timotzei. That even though the Chochmah is there, it came forth, but it has a quality like a mitzvah, like something that you found unexpectedly. You see something, but you know where it came from. Why? Because the source from which it came is not a mitzvah, it's a ayin. Let's take it to our mashal from day and light. Light is something which we can replicate, we can create light. Let me understand how it works. Day has a similar effect. But light is not Timotzei. Light we can understand what it's based on. Day we cannot understand. Light we cannot understand even after we experience, we said many times. Light inside the sun is the same reality as darkness by us. Darkness we can understand in the world by darkness. But light, on a fundamental level, there's no way you can understand. What is light? Light is a godly creation. It's a different kind of reality, not the worldly reality, it's a godly reality. The day element. And this is why, and you do mind boy, you don't know where it comes from. Where it came from. Because it comes from Ayin. It's not a worldly presence. So let's go quickly through this line and we'll revisit it later. K'moi kein b'chinas chochma. The similar thing is in b'chinas chochma, eine yodeya es mikeda. One gets a fleeting sight of chochma. He doesn't know where the source of it came from. K'moi hayesh, just like the yesh, she'ene yodeya o masik es mokir amhava esek. But one cannot know and comprehend the source that creates it. This is why Chochmah is also called Yesh Me'ayin. This is it for this morning. Okay, have a good Shabbos. We'll get together with the Sikha tonight, and have a Feirach and Yom Tov.
ya